Hey, this is Allen. I'm manager of the Regulators, and I also had a 2-0 record against
This
the
is Sam
Soldiers.
Tarantola, team manager of Virginia Tech Kicks Ass. I went second in Red Zone Faction and fifth in the Lost Tribe of Alabama.
I want to welcome everybody back to the Red Zone Faction podcast. Today, we have Sam Tarantola, Alan Martin. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to be here.
We have members of the Lost Tribe of Alabama, and Sam participated in the Red Zone Faction League. I had one short, and he happened to save my life being here.
Trying to load an
During the draft.
ESPN draft from a previous
Let's talk
draft.
about how things went this year with fantasy football. Alan, we'll start with you. Give me your overall assessment of your 2016 fantasy and Lost Tribe.
Everything went good. Everything went good other than Travis winning and being beat by Sam in the playoffs. It was a good year.
Yeah, that's two hard things to overcome. I agree. What about you, Sam? What was your overall assessment of the 2016 season and the tribe?
I think I had a decent draft, aside from two individuals snagging every freaking running back for the first 5-6 rounds. Beyond that, beating certain people always feels good, but losing in the playoffs always stings, and losing to a certain person is always no fun, but part of the game, and that's why we play, so we can just run our mouths to each other for the rest of the year.
I swept both of those that drafted all the running backs.
Some of us weren't lucky enough to catch him while he was not hot. Some of us got him when he was at his hottest.
He got on a run, and he took off, man. He was
Having two flexes and starting 4 running backs this year was also a bit of a handicap, even though every freaking fantasy expert said this was the year of the wide receiver. A lot of us bit into it. Some of us did not.
Yeah.
And the ones who didn't seemed to prosper at the end.
Right. I will never listen to another fantasy expert again.
Even though we claim to be experts.
Right.
There's not enough receivers to make it. Yeah.
You've really got 3 elite receivers, and the rest are hit or miss. And even some of those 3
Had bad games.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Took Nelson a minute to come on, too.
Right. All right. Well, with that said, we've got another Auburn fan in the house. Alan Martin is a huge Auburn fan. My favorite Auburn fan, because I think he is undoubtedly the most intelligent Auburn fan I know. He's never said anything to turn me sideways. He knows his stuff. Alan, let's talk about 16 Auburn. Give me your assessment of the 2016 season.
It was the most bipolar football team out there. You didn't know if the team that could smack Arkansas was going to show up,
Right.
or the team that couldn't beat themselves out of a wet paper bag against Georgia was going to show up. It was just an average year.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
What about the coaching staff? What's your opinion on that coaching staff? And they had some changes over the offseason.
We had some changes. I like the coaching staff. I'm high on Gus Malzahn. I'm high on Rodney Garner. I'm high on Travis Williams. But I have a feeling this year is going to be do or die for Malzahn.
Okay. Sam, Virginia Tech fan, another ACC fan. It's funny, my last 2 guests were Auburn and ACC. Virginia Tech. Most of our watchers and listeners SEC, so give me a little bit of Virginia Tech talk about 16. How was last year's Virginia Tech?
Last year's team was Fuentes' first season as head coach. After 23, 24 years of Beamer, it was an experience. We knew what we were getting when we brought him from Memphis to Virginia Tech, how long the transition from ground and pound and special teams to quick-paced, deep throws of the Memphis style that he had. Honestly, the pieces for the players, we had some good wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And every one of them was either our top 2 receivers were both seniors. Our best tight end was a senior. We knew this was going to be their last year.
Right.
We were getting a JUCO quarterback. Who won the quarterback competition. He had recruited some young quarterbacks to come in, and all of them got to participate, during the summer to determine who was going to be our main go-to quarterback. JUCO quarterback Evans had a great year. A lot of us in Blacksburg are disappointed that the man drafted up there's entering the draft, so it's and we can't fault the guy for that, but at the same time, it's like we wanted one more year with him, but we understand he's losing all his offensive weapons, and he's going to get a lot of young receivers, so he's trying to enter the draft on a high note.
Yeah.
But the draft experts are already saying this may blow back up in his face and he should have stayed another year. But it's going to be interesting to see, it's anytime a new coach takes over a team, it's that second or third year you start to see the changes. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll be this year because we've got a lot of young players that are going to be in starting positions, and this is going to be a growing pains year. Last year we finished with a 10-game win season, which we hadn't had in a while.
Right.
And we got spoiled, and Beamer, for a while there, the last 2 or 3 years with Beamer, we haven't had a 10-game win season. Mm-hmm. We've struggled just to get to 7 or 8 wins.
Right.
And it felt good to get to 10. I honestly don't know if we're going to take a backward step. Even if we do, it's a growing pain. We've got a lot of young talent. Hopefully we get 8 or 9 wins, maybe.
Okay.
I haven't read enough on him to know if he's willing to go to do whatever it takes to get the trophy.
Yeah.
Man, he's going to be.
I think he will.
The name of the game.
I mean, you don't last long in any. I mean, even Bowden got pushed out with Seminoles at some point. He hadn't won enough in a long time.
Right.
And, Beamer got pushed out. Whether he chose to go on his own or they encouraged him to go, he's still a part of Virginia Tech history. He built a program. But nowadays, you're not going to have any coach
these days
go 10 years unless they've put titles.
And in the age that we live in today, when a head coach sticks around too long, you start getting stagnant and everything starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
Think about it. Not just in college, but pro too. I mean, a lot of these coaches don't stick around long.
Well, look at Georgia putting Rick out because he couldn't win at all.
Yeah.
Other than that, he won 10 games every
At the end of the day, if you're not hoisting that trophy up,
if you don't have a trophy within about 4 or 5 years,
you're gone.
They're going to put you down the road.
Yeah.
That's just modern day football.
All right. Well, one last Virginia. Well, I guess this is an ACC thing. Clemson beat Alabama in the national championship. So come on, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. You were super happy about that.
I was, but that's partly being ACC proud and partly being a hater on Alabama.
Okay. Okay.
It's nice. Hey, the year before you guys, took it to Clemson, and then this year.
I was saying, but took it to Clemson. Both of those games, it was almost like the first quarter of this national championship. The first quarter of this national championship was the fifth quarter. Because that was 8 quarters of almost watching the same exact game. I mean, both teams were not there to lose that game, either one of them. I mean, they both brought everything they had at the end of the day. Like I said, was I upset when Bama lost this year? Yeah, absolutely I was. But at the same time, I knew when the game was over, we left everything on that field, and that night, Clemson was the better team. A lot of Alabama fans they argue with me about that. They disagree. I don't. I think Clemson was the better team that night. They deserved to win that. They deserved to hoist that trophy up. I'm happy for Dabo. I'm happy for Clemson. It sucks for Alabama. It sucks for the SEC. But that night belonged to Clemson, and they earned it. Now, at the beginning of the season, they played Auburn, and I watched them struggle against Auburn. And I said, there's no way in hell the way Clemson's playing. I watched that game. I said, there's no way in hell the way Clemson's playing this game, they're going to go back. They're going to go back to the national title game. Obviously, throughout the season, they got stronger, they got better, and they grew, and they made it back.
Who'd they lose
that
to?
night?
Louisville? Who'd they lose to? Louisville?
Who?
Clemson.
No, it was a bullcrap game. Wasn't it Syracuse or Pitt?
I'm thinking about. They beat Louisville, I think.
Yeah, they beat Louisville.
They beat Louisville. That game was high scoring.
Auburn and Louisville and Alabama were their toughest games.
Yeah.
Even their loss wasn't necessarily a tough game.
I think you're right.
It was just a game they came in and just.
After the Auburn game, and then after whoever they lost to, I can't even remember.
I can't remember either, but I think it was a conference game. But I think it was a school that they should not have lost.
No, it was either Syracuse or
the North Carolina, maybe, or North Carolina State. Maybe that's who
it was a crap game.
Yeah, either way.
After that, I didn't think they were what they were the year before. And I really didn't expect them to show up in the national championship game.
Clemson took it to the Seminoles. They took it to Auburn. They took it to friggin' Louisville. And they had one shit game, one crap game, and And they got into the playoffs.
First word on the Red Zone
It
Faction.
wouldn't be a
Who are all the
interview with
podcasts
Sam
we've
without
had?
cussing now.
Leave the Tarantula to be the first one. It's okay. We'll be the last today. I got Jeremiah and Doug coming on later. That one is going to be Hell Fest.
Well, that's what the B got button is for. But honestly, the first game Clemson played Auburn
Yeah.
for the title,
Yeah.
special teams was the reason Alabama won that year. They
Right.
caught them off guard twice.
Right.
The second national title game, whatever trick play, gadget play they tried to run,
Yeah.
Clemson was ready.
Right. Yeah.
And I
They didn't
think
really do the gadget crap in the
they did
game though.
I mean,
because
the first game, the first time they played, they did.
Yeah. So I mean, but either way, at the end of the day, I mean, Clemson was a better team. They deserved to hold up that trophy, and I'm totally good with that.
Go ACC.
I mean, they got another one.
Upward swing.
They got another one.
The SEC dominance is starting to level out.
Starting to level out. I'd like for the ACC to be down this year.
I don't think so.
Clemson.
I think the Seminole, I think Rick,
Clemson doesn't have a quarterback unless you ask.
I'm not saying Clemson's going to be the dominant team. I'm definitely putting Miami and the Seminoles as top two teams for the ACC this year.
I think Clemson will be down.
I think Rick has enough
We'll find
more
out second
talent
game
there.
of the year. We'll see what FSU's got first game of the year. I'm expecting them to haven't lost at the
If they can beat Bama in the first,
and I don't see North Carolina being that good this year.
no.
North Carolina?
Yeah. They've been kind of a surprise past couple years. Which Fedora's a good coach.
They go through defensive coordinators a lot, though.
Well, Chiswick left.
I know, but even before him, the previous defense coordinator,
Well, yeah, the first one he had couldn't stop anything.
and then Chiswick just.
He had a good year. He had two.
He had a good season,
two
but
solid years. Which is it?
I think North Carolina is one of the hardest. There's 3 teams there, 4 teams really, but then it's like I don't know how any of them can manage. I mean, it's one thing when it's Alabama or Auburn trying to recruit against each other, and then you got other teams like Tennessee and Arkansas trying to snag players from the same region. It's like, but North Carolina doesn't have that much talent to begin with. And then when you're all fighting for those 2 and 3 star players to keep the in-house kids, and then Duke is like Vanderbilt and Notre Dame. You've got to have a certain GPA just to even get in. They don't care how good an athlete you are.
Cutcliffe's done well there with what he's had.
Yeah. Offensively, he's done great.
We'll see what Rick's got this year, but I'm not high on the ACC this year.
I'm not either. Plus, I think they done pissed off the SEC. So
We'll see what your 2 big dogs got on first game of the year and the second game of the year.
yeah, we'll find out because Florida State's first up against Alabama. So
Clemson's second week with Auburn. Auburn coming there, but
Auburn's going where?
to Clemson. Second
Oh
game.
yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yes,
I have
sir.
not looked at Auburn's schedule. They're going to Clemson.
Second game of the year.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
That'll be a revenge game.
I did not know that.
That is pure revenge. If y'all got a
Oh, yeah.
quarterback.
Yeah, Clemson. Clemson
Please
beat us.
beat Clemson.
Hey, they beat us.
I'm
right
gonna
after
have to
we
find
won.
some Auburn crap to put on that week.
No, you won't. Don't lie.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not
Don't
doing
lie. Don't
You're right. I'm not doing
That
that.
was funny.
But I will be pulling for Auburn. Clemson left a bad taste in my mouth, man. Like I said, I give them the hate. They deserve to hold that trophy up. I like Dabo. I've been saying it for how many years?
Yeah. As soon as Saban retires, Mama's
Dabo's
calling.
coming home. Write
Mama's
it down.
calling.
Mama's calling. Dabo's coming home.
I honestly
I'm a Dabo
don't think
fan.
they
I
don't.
have been.
The alumni are going to have to waive a ton of money, and
You
they
think
will.
that's a problem?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
I know it's not a
This is
problem.
Alabama.
They'll get money from the governor if they have to.
They've got one of the highest paid coaches in all of football now with no buyout clause. You think they're worried about money?
Absolutely.
No.
Money
That's
is
the
not
state
an
of affairs in Alabama. As long as you have a winning team,
When you win 5 national championships, money kind of free flows.
All right, now let's go back to you and Auburn real quick. I heard something Corey brought to my attention. Franklin is moving to wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
What do you think? Is that a big deal?
Second string, third string.
Second string? Oh, wow, okay.
We've got some good receivers there. We just got to find somebody to get them the football.
Yeah.
I don't see him starting. Maybe one of those late games or homecoming, something like
I
that.
just think
He's extremely fast.
he's talented. I just can't see what that guy should be on the field. I mean, I look. You know me. I don't. I'm not gonna say here.
He's very small.
Huh?
He's small. He's smaller than they list him.
Yeah.
If he fits in a slot, something like that,
Yeah.
maybe it works out. But there's some very good receivers on that roster, and
Yeah.
I don't see him getting
Not
over on.
little Darren Sproles. No. Get him in space.
I don't know. Little guys can make it in college and in the pros if
If they're gonna get somebody the
If
ball
they've got
in space,
speed.
it needs to be Kerryon Johnson.
Okay. Who's the quarterback? Week 1.
Oh man, I'm hoping it's Stidham. I'm
Yeah.
hoping. The hype's there. I like Sean White. I'm a Sean White fan.
Yeah.
He just can't stay healthy.
yeah.
Doesn't bring an explosiveness. He's a game manager.
Right.
So I'm hoping for Stidham.
All right, Sam. Let's talk about your Buffalo Bills. Sean McDermott's your head coach, first year. I'm a McDermott fan. Used to coach in Philadelphia under Jim Johnson, the late great Jim Johnson. Your free agent acquisitions. You've got Dukakis coming in as a guard.
Eh.
You've got a new kicker.
Not exactly excited about him for some
The
reason.
kicker.
The
is?
Bills.
It's Stephen.
Husaka?
Hasaka?
Hasaka?
Yeah.
That guy's been solid in Seattle.
In the NFC West?
Yes.
Yes.
NFC West.
NFC West, where most of his games are played in a dome or on the West Coast where there's not a lot of
Dude,
rain.
Seattle plays outside
Seattle's
and
a
the weather
tough
is
place.
terrible.
Seattle has a dome where
No, it
most
doesn't.
of his kicks are made under the dome portion. The open air area is, that chunk of field is wet and nasty. Yes.
It's always blowing in Seattle. You
Dude,
can
Seattle's
watch that.
weather is terrible.
I'm telling
Flag
you,
is always blowing.
Yes.
if we had picked up someone like, and I hate to say this, Robbie Gould or Mason Crosby, somebody who plays in a cold weather environment, I'd rather have someone who can kick, because we're going to go down to Miami, no big deal. We're going to play in Buffalo. We're going to play in a Jet Stadium in the Meadowlands. We're going to play in Kraft Stadium. I mean, we've got 6 games minimum where A, it's going to be close. Yes, we're going to have to depend on a kicker.
Yeah.
B, they've moved back that extra point. Yes, this kid Hazuka has a leg, and he had a down year last year, and he was a salary cap casualty for Seattle. We're not as explosive right now.
Yeah.
The Bills haven't been explosive since the 90s. Okay? I mean,
Kelly, right.
that
Yeah.
K-Gun. We
Yeah.
haven't had a guy that could throw deep since Drew Bledsoe. We couldn't even keep him for more than 2 years.
Right.
I don't
Okay.
draft a quarterback.
It's been a quarterback issue for years with the Bills.
Yeah.
And
Well, you brought up, you got somebody on the roster.
totally
right now.
excited that we have 2 Virginia Tech quarterbacks playing for Buffalo.
I was going to mention the one who's not.
This
Who's
I have
on
to
your
hear.
roster. And I didn't even realize this until last night when I was looking over the Bills roster. Y'all have Cordell Jones, Ohio State.
I see him as a gadget project.
Who are
Like
Virginia
Tyrod
Tech's
Taylor.
quarterbacks on this roster?
No. I think Tyrod has more
Other than that,
dimensions.
Tyrod. Who's the other one?
Logan Thomas. Rich are projecting we're going to go after an Alabama tight end with our pick.
Jeez.
I don't know why.
Well, you already have.
We
have
overpaid
Marcel
for a
Darius.
Miami tight end.
You have Reggie Ragland.
Marcel Darius.
Marcel Darius, Reggie Ragland. And if you get O.J. Howard,
It's a miniature
roll
Alabama.
Tide, Sam.
I might actually have you wearing Bills gear at some point. Is that what you're saying? Maybe.
If they get O.J.
Maybe.
Howard, they need to get a quarterback. that
Right, you gotta have
can
somebody
man
throwing the ball.
Tyrod Taylor.
Or
is-
just give Cardell Jones the ball.
No,
Which, at this rate, I don't see why. You know me, I'm not a big Ohio State fan, but The guy can play ball. I don't understand why he's not the quarterback.
He should not have drafted up early. He should have got his reps in with Ohio, but I think the coach, Urban Meyer, was fickle about quarterbacks his first couple of years in there.
Yeah.
And one guy would get hurt, he'd throw the next guy in, he'd have a good year. We're going to keep going with this guy, and then the other young kid that was brought in there to be his starter would get pissed and, well, I don't want to stay. And, you know, yeah, the kid had talent, and we obviously we gave him a contract because Rex Ryan was trying to make anything work.
Right.
And Tyrod Taylor was a backup for Joe Flacco for a number of years. He had great preseasons. He has the arm. He has the mobility. I think the fact that he hasn't had the weapons and they were so focused on running the ball the first 2 years Rex Ryan was there that they would not put the ball in his hands unless the game was so far behind. They had to throw. And when they did, he was able to make some great throws. He was able to scramble and run not an option style game, but you know, if you've got to cover a quarterback that has the ability to run, or he could pitch out to McCoy.
Right.
McCoy has never been off tackle or between the tackle kind of guard. He's not that guy. He has to have the open field.
Is McCoy still there?
Yes.
McCoy is still there.
Which I was super happy about. Somebody else they signed in free agency this year was Mike Tolbert, fullback.
I think they brought him in as a camp body because they brought in three players from Carolina that McDermott's familiar with. Philly Brown, they brought in Tolbert, they brought in a third guy who I think will actually make it.
Yeah.
I think we have no receivers beyond Watkins, and Watkins is one of those. Will he be healthy for the whole damn year?
Right.
That's why you draft O.J. Howard.
Oh, Jesus.
Exactly.
So we can run double tight end.
That kid outran receivers at the combine.
Hey, I don't understand. What is your deal with O.J. Howard?
I don't hate O.J. Howard. I just honestly think.
Why do you think he's projected to go in the first round? It's not because he sucks. Are you just that hated on Alabama? Do you have so much hate in your heart for Alabama?
I feel like our coaching changes have. I honestly don't know how we're going to rank him high. I honestly think if we focus on building an offensive line, because we've got an aging line.
I would take O.J. Howard over all the other Alabama guys in the draft. That's just me, personally. I'm a construction worker. I'm not a football coach. That's my opinion. I think he's the best of all of them.
I'm not knocking him. I honestly believe we need to build our line.
I would take him second behind Jonathan Allen.
I think
Jonathan Allen's.
I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's an excellent football player, but I think O.J. Howard could be that breakout player. He could have a Jimmy Graham, Gronkowski kind of year.
I agree.
But are they going to position him as a tight end or as a wide receiver?
But at the end of the day, Alan, you're right. If he doesn't have anybody throwing the ball, it's not going to matter. That's my issue.
If they've got
Bill's
a tight end
there, quarterback.
If they've got a tight end there, I'd make him a receiver. The kid is big. He's fast. He's strong.
Yep. And the kid can block. And a lot of times people look at his stats and they're like, oh, so that's not a big deal. Watch him in the games. Watch him. He is the best blocking tight end I've ever seen in my life.
He showed out.
And he took on multiple times. He took on multiple people.
All right, fine. I'm excited to have O.J. Howard if we draft.
You could run that way every time. Why do you think our running backs are that good? Yeah, they're good, but watch when they're running to his side.
I think Alabama running backs are overrated.
Huh?
Alabama running backs and the pros are overrated.
And the pros are overrated. Here, Sam, your hatred for Alabama is more ridiculous than any Auburn fan I've ever spoke to in my entire life.
And I'm a non-SEC.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
I don't know. 10 years of Alabama running their mouth to me on a regular basis kind of builds the hatred.
Well, we win, so we can do that. Get used to it. All these years.
Hey, the down season of the SEC is coming.
We've already had it.
It's only going to go further down.
The down season of the SEC is when Alabama lost to Clemson in the national title game. Just happened.
Yeah, I know.
Because everybody else didn't pick up the pace.
It's a downward trend. It's still going.
Next year, the SEC will be back.
Okay.
Doing what they do.
I understand that.
And the ACC will go back to playing basketball.
Yeah. Anyhow.
And we'll bring Kentucky along for the ride.
Whatever.
Go Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
So I got him. I finally did my bracket.
Good deal.
Go
Me
Wildcats.
too.
I'm also, yeah, he's a sexy chain tape.